and Earnhardt is driving the number 3 Sundrop car at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Did we get transported back to the 80s or 90s or just basically sometime in the past 25 to 40 years? No. This is 2022. And while racing history never really repeats itself, well...
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
So the big news coming out of today, or well, I should say yesterday when this video comes out, is that Dale Earnhardt Jr. will race the number 3 Sundrop late model car at North Wilkesboro Speedway on Wednesday, August 31st in the Cars Tour race at the track. The scheme is a throwback one to his 1993 Sundrop late model that he raced at North Wilkesboro Speedway about 30 years ago. Sundrop, for those who don't know, was one of his first sponsors in his racing career and was a long-term partner of Dale Earnhardt Sr. as well. So Sundrop and the Earnhardts, well, they have a good connection, similar to the way that Junior did Nationwide. And this is part of the Racetrack Revival of North Wilkesboro Speedway, a process to resurrect the track from the dead. On Tuesday night, August 2nd, last night as of this video coming out, North Wilkesboro had its first races in over a decade and its first major races broadcast to the racing community, really, since 1996 when they had a cup race the last time. The track reopened to a sold-out crowd, estimated to be about 9,000 to 10,000, which, for what is now a local short track, is not bad whatsoever. Ryan Newman was the big headliner of the night, as he was the driver who won the Tour-Type Modified race, and, well, that really went pretty far in the NASCAR community. And I think this is all really big, and this is really great when it comes to those who are NASCAR history fans or NASCAR historians or just fans of NASCAR going back to their roots. But what does this all add up to overall? What is the long-term plan here? Well, I'll just say this. Dale Jr. being back in the 3 is an awesome thing, and seeing how Lionel has pretty much already confirmed that they're going to start making diecast for this, I think this is going to be hyped up big time, and I think there's going to be a lot of different announcements and talk about this on the big NBC broadcast. This just isn't a push for North Wilkesboro as a community or even SMI, but the entire sport of auto racing to get this track back on its feet. It has the prospects of being a huge moneymaker based on what the crowd looked like. But overall, the long-term plan has shown that this is only a step. Looking back, in 2020, Dale Jr. led a cleanup crew to kind of patch up and clean the track and scan it for iRacing, which later made it available to be used on the platform and be used in the Pro Invitational events that were broadcast to well over 1 million people on television on Fox and Fox Sports 1. This, in a lot of ways, really kickstarted the public push to bring the track back. At that point, especially during COVID, many of us thought that that track was just a relic of a bygone era left to rot in the mountains of North Carolina. But later on, when North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper and the North Carolina government allocated $18 million of their funds to help restore the Speedway, a lot of people really thought that this might be happening. And all of them were proven right against a lot of people, myself included, who thought that this couldn't happen on Easter weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway this past spring, where the track's revival was officially announced and confirmed. That August, which we are currently in at the moment, would be the final races on the old pavement, the pavement that everyone remembers from the 90s when the track was in its dying days in the Cup Series. And October would see the track dug up and the final races on the old dirt, the dirt that was originally used when NASCAR started back in the 40s. 2023 then would see a brand new repave and would really kind of repave the future of this track. Now, it's important to say that Marcus Smith of SMI has been very coy on promising anything for the track, which I think is really smart. It's good not to make promises at the moment when the track's future is very fluid. And there's really been nothing whatsoever brought up about bringing the top 3 series of NASCAR here, as the track just is not ready for the way the sport currently is in the modern day. But the thing is, the start has been good of the track being open. There's a ton of press online. There's a ton of different people at the track. There's the press of Dale Earnhardt Jr. driving the number 3 car again at the track, and an estimated 9,000 to 10,000 fans were in attendance for the opening night. The big question now for the next couple months is, can this be consistent? Can the support stay for the rest of August through the end when Dale Jr. races, and then stay in October through the end of the month when there's going to be a lot of fans in the area for the Martinsville Speedway race for NASCAR? If so, then I think that the future is very bright for North Wilkesboro. It shows that the local community will step up and be there for it. After that, I think the big thing is that the repave needs to work, have no really stupid things happen, similar to a lot of other SMI repaves, and to get the track racing consistently again and get the track on TV. My idea would be get the SRX there. If the SRX comes, it could be a huge test for both the racing series and racing audiences in general. It would be a test to show if the SRX can bring people in person. Probably have to up the capacity just a little bit more, or maybe there's some renovations made at that point, but it'll also be a test to see just how much the racing community on TV would tune in and support the track. If it's good, well, it's going to give us a good direction as to where the track goes next in terms of racing. I think that long term, it could be realistic to bring the trucks or Xfinity back, and who knows? We've seen crazier things like the Nashville Super Speedway come back. Maybe the Cup Series could go back one day to North Wilkesboro, maybe as the All-Star race, maybe even a points race one day. The future right now, like I said, is very fluid, and everything that happens in August and October is going to dictate what happens moving forward. But I will say, the start looked magical, though, from those who were there and posting on social media, and I got to say, I'm both happy for them to be there, but I'm also a little bit envious, as I wish I could have been a part of something that probably felt like a momentous occasion in racing. Now, with that, I want to pass the subject on to you. What do you think of Dale Jr. driving the 3 again, and what do you think the future holds for North Wilkesboro Speedway? Let me know down in the comments below, and while you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you to all my channel members for your continued support. Also, be sure to watch the NASCAR Weekly Podcast on my channel tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll talk about this and many other things in the world of NASCAR. And until next time, have a good one.